So I said today I wasn't going to film. Whew. Thank you. So today I said I was not going to film. It's a day off, a day of relax. Just came from a long trip for you all who follow me on TikTok. But I feel like this is something that one of you needs. Not all of you, but one of you really needs this today. It's the way you thought things were supposed to be. That thought that we have. Things are supposed to be the way I think they're supposed to be. Like if I can narrow down to one thought that has been like the root cause of so many things that have got me irritated, frustrated, something that's brought me a lot of sadness when I felt deep sadness, it has always been the root of this. Not my biggest fear. There's a big difference between the root cause of something and then the deepest fear that we all have, that we're not enough and we won't be loved. But this is like the deep, like seated pain. Whoa, my camera's falling. We're gonna keep it rolling though. We're keeping it rolling. We're keeping it rolling. That's how we do it. Is me thinking it's supposed to be a certain way. Like this camera might not stay, guys. But we're rolling. You see how we just keep this going? We keep it going. We never know who this can help. The way we thought it was supposed to be. Is my camera falling? My camera's literally falling. But we're keeping it rolling. I'm gonna fix this on the fly. But the way we thought it was supposed to be. Like it's been like, for me, one of the things that I've just been like, well, it's supposed to be like this, so we might have to redo this whole video. Should we keep it going? We're gonna keep it going. Just for all the people. This video is for all the people who thinks it has to be perfect. Things have to be perfect. No, they don't. Get that belief out your mind right now. Save you a little bit of pain. That's how we're gonna roll. Okay. My tripod fell on the floor. Look at this. This is like a mess. But we keep it rolling. Perfect example. This I thought it was supposed to be like this. I thought my video was supposed to come out clean. My mic was supposed to be on. It's supposed to be a perfect video, but it's not. And sometimes we hold what's happening and we compare it every single moment. We compare how we thought it was supposed to be in our minds to how it actually is. And anytime those don't line up with the way you thought it was supposed to be and the way that it is, anytime it doesn't meet there, especially if it's under, there's going to be some kind of something's going to be get stirred up inside of us, inside of you, inside of me. So let's say I have my camera here on the tripod. I spent 20 minutes trying to set it up. Not true, but an example. I spent 20 minutes to set this up. Doesn't work. Now it doesn't go how I'm supposed to be. Now that brings up all this kind of frustration, irritate, embarrassment. And that was like, and now how do I jump back in to talk about something now that it cut out, now that it didn't work out how it's supposed to, and I got to go back and finish talking, or I got to show up still, you know, the paycheck wasn't what you thought it was supposed to be, but you still need to make that last. You still need to make that work to get everything that you need for you and your family. So this thought of like how it's supposed to be, like it can be one of the most dangerous things. Because how many times, if you just think about it, how many times has things went how it was supposed to be? Like in your mind. Because there's a new belief you can have that everything's happening is how it's supposed to. Especially when people start to realize the power of their words. When you start to realize the power of your words, it's like you sometimes speak it into existence. The most rare example the most latest example I can think of, I was having a conversation with my little brother, and I had given him some like some vitamins, some stuff that he could use because he does so many cool things, but he's very active, very physically active. So he has a chance of getting hurt a lot and needing energy and all these stuff. That, hey, here's some vitamins, they'll help you. I don't ever take vitamins, even though I know I should. And I gave them to him, and he put them next to his desk. I remember seeing it. And then 5 months later, boom, I come back home and the vitamins are still there. And I was like, he didn't even use the vitamins. So then what he does is I take them. I come back here to Mexico with the vitamins. Cause I'm like, maybe I'll use them one day. I talked to him a week ago and he was just like, man, he's like, I can't, he's like, I'm okay. I just can't find those vitamins you gave me. He's like, I've been just he said something along, I've been just praying that I could know where they are. That's what I want. And I was like, your prayers have been answered. I'm like paraphrasing. I was like, your prayers have been answered. He's like, why? I'm like, they're right here next to me on my desk. And he's like, what? I looked everywhere for it. I did that. No, you didn't ask that they come to you, or that you can have them, or that you have the energy. You asked that you could know where they are. You asked you could know where they are because you thought they were supposed to be here and they weren't. Disappointment, frustration, all that stuff can come from. But the most important thing is he spoke that into existence. He spoke it into existence. I want to know where they are. Here they are. Boom. They're not close to you, but there they are. So you gotta be careful. Like, I want to just know where all these people are who could be my potential clients, or where all my people who can watch my videos. They're all right there. They're all right there. So for me, when it comes to getting out of your mind how you think things are supposed to be, goes hand in hand with what you speak out there. I think if people really knew, like I say, I'm not supposed to be recording today, so I'm just having a coffee here. That's all, and just talking to myself. How easily we can trick our brains. But the one thing I was thinking of, if we can get out of our mind how it's supposed to be, and just accept things, to see things as they are, not accept them as they are. Because you gotta be careful with that. Because you can accept it as they are and then want to change it. But most people just accept it like that's what I'm gonna do. Like, I can't tell you how many times. Oh, and by the way, we're having our clarity call this Friday. So you guys want to sign up for the masterclass? We're meeting again this Friday. Thank you for all you guys who've been participating in it. And I don't say thank you like thank you for coming, but I mean it as in a means of thank you for putting you first, and taking the initiative to show up on a Friday at 7 p.m. to in the name of making yourself and becoming a better person. I think that's so powerful. Uh, and with that being said, like, the thought of thinking of how it's supposed to be, like, because if you really look at yourself right now, it's like, are you where you're supposed to be? Or is this how you thought it was supposed to go? I guess it's just supposed to go like this. And there's like that acceptance in what it is that allows you to see it clearly. You know, like, it's that allows you to see clearly. It's just seeing things. I think it was in Tony Robbins' program. He was just like, you need to see things as they are, not worse than they are. You have to see them as they are. And sometimes accepting, like, this is what it is. Like, it could be like a I don't know, it's like a breath of fresh air. You know, one of the things I write down is, I used to do affirmations and talk to myself, and I do that a lot. But I speak to myself now, and I used to speak to myself negatively because that's what I respond to. And I realized, like, I don't have to do that. I can speak things as they are, and from the standpoint of speaking them as they are, like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, and then add something to it. You know, I think when I'm a big fan of Tony Horton, and Tony Horton had said something along the lines of, like, he's like, don't say I can't do pull-ups. I can't do pull-ups. Say I presently struggle with. Like, just saying it like that means, like, I'm honest about now, but I'm also honest about where this is going. You know, and those make a big difference. The word yet is so powerful. Like, hey, I don't understand, like, for me, I don't understand software development yet. Because I'm not denying the fact that I don't understand it now, but I'm being honest about where I am now, and also letting putting it out there to where I'm gonna be, where I want to be, where I'm supposed to be. Okay. So for me, the thing that has really worked for me is understanding to see things how I want it, and then understand that I only have a certain perspective. Because, a lot of people tell me, like, you guys know, I do these calls. I've been doing them for, I don't know how long it's been, probably 2 years now, 2.5 years. I've been doing these sessions calls where people pay, and we have a call for like 40 minutes and get things clear. And one of the common things, if it's a call for travel, one of the most common talks that I have is people are like, they're worried about what could go wrong. And that's a vision. They see things how they want them to see them. Like, if I go there and I don't know the language, then it's gonna be challenging. And for me, I was like, well, okay, is it possible that things could turn out better than what you can even imagine now? And there's always like this pause, and they're like, well, I guess, yeah, that's possible. It's very possible. Because here's the thing: when you only know, like, if you only can count from 1 to 10, the possibilities of getting to like a million seem very challenging, because it's just like, well, one, two, like, I only know the 10, so now I got to do 2 plus 10, and then 10 times 10, and then do 10 and that's challenging. But when you realize, when all of a sudden someone says, boom, there's this number, 350,000. Well, there's numbers out there, and they get you to think differently. Many of you guys know. Make sure my mic is on. We're good. Many of you know I went to Bali, and I lived in Bali. I was supposed to be in Bali for 5 days. Stayed there for almost 2 years. And one of the biggest challenges that I was worried about, well, not even let's not even go there. That's not even relevant. The thing that I wanted, I saw a lady, a girl, an influencer. Her name is Sorella Amore, and she posted this video. I think it was in her video of why she wakes up at 4:30 every morning. She did it for like a week, and she was living in Bali, and she'd wake up every morning. She'd walk outside of her house, and as soon as she walked outside of her house, she had this pile of coconuts, and she just chopped it with a knife, and and she'd have it, and she'd drink it. That would be her morning thing. And I remember thinking that, and I was just like, that's what I want. Like, that was the dream. That was, like, for me, the dream. Like, I want to have a place that I'm staying in with a pile of coconuts outside. That was pretty much the extent of my dream. But that was still huge because at that moment, I was currently sitting in my apartment in the north of France as a pro athlete with 8 months left in my season, with a 2 year contract, which is I got to come back there the next year as well. And I only have a 2 month window, and I'm going to stay in Europe most likely. But seeing that vision, it pulled me to it, and I had no idea things would transpire how they did, and then I'd end up leaving my contract early and just taking out with just a book bag and going across the world. But the thing that I realized there, though, was when I got there, was I had never been there. I'd never been to Bali. Just seen pictures and watched influencers, and it has nothing to do with Bali. I think Bali is so far opposite. The magic of Bali, even now in my mind, is getting so diluted because of tourism and just everything else, and it's forgetting about the local culture and how amazing the locals are, just in their little villages, and not having some huge festival to where people are performing a ritual that they actually do in a pueblo or in a village. And it's just, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But the thing was, I just saw me in a place with a pile of coconuts outside. I had no idea that the first time that I did that, that the person would climb up a tree. And if you guys follow me on social media, you saw that. Like, he climbed up a tree and dropped the coconuts down and brought the pile over. I was living in the jungle in a hut. I stayed there for 2 months. I had no idea that from there I'd move into a big city. I'd have my first villa that I ever lived in with the pool, and we'd have a coconut tree and a papaya tree inside the villa, like around the pool with the grassy part. There's like, it's growing there. I never could see that. And then I was like, well, I still want to have a pile of coconuts that I don't take down from the tree because it looks nice. I had no idea that I'd be just leaving from a massage where I get a daily massage every day, and 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 there'd be a coconut truck passing by, and I'd be like, hey, can you just follow me to my house? And I'd buy 50 coconuts from him. like, like these are things that I didn't see. Like, I had no idea. And I say that because we sometimes assume things are going to be one way, and we assume if they're not the way we want them to, they're going to be worse. But you have to understand there's a whole upside that we can't imagine. The downside is very low. Like, our worst fear is, you have a sickness, or you're homeless on the street, you run out of money. But the upsides are crazy. Like, the upside of pursuing what you want, like, that is crazy. Like, the upside of pursuing what you enjoy, what you love. Do you know the upside of that? Do you know the upside? For me in my life, I never thought that I could find someone who I could spend time with, like, so much, and also have the freedom to leave when I want, and also have the freedom to do all these things, and also be supported, and also be challenged, and also, like, just be like, wow, this is better than I imagined. I never thought of that. And at the same time, we'll talk about this probably in a master class, probably on relationships. I want to talk about it because I think it's important. Is to know that there's one thing I used to always say, like, wow, you're something that I never imagined I'd have. I've said that in the past before, which is a pretty powerful thing to say to somebody. But I realized the magic is when, you know, you're someone that I thought I never deserved. That takes it to the next level. And that you have to become a different person to even attract that. And I say all this because we think things are how they're supposed to be, and when they're not, we think that it could be the end of the world, or it's the end of a hola amigo, Indias, or we think that it's the end of things as we know it. But sometimes, even better than us not seeing, from better, I'm saying it that way on purpose. Even sometimes better than us seeing things how they are. Excuse me, get this right. Sometimes the upside is we can see things worse than they are, sometimes we see things better. But sometimes when things turn out worse, like we think, they just turn out worse in the timeline that we're looking at. Okay? So what I mean by that is like something happens and then we want to go here, flight gets canceled, we lose our bags, something happens again, boom, and now it's put us down here, but in a totally different area than if everything went according to plan. But this right here, it might be the setup, just like an arrow, a bow and arrow pulling back. That might be the setup to shoot you out over here, completely different than where you imagined. Like Mexico was probably the last place I imagined because Mexico was never on my list of places to visit. Never. Like it never was there. There's probably, I don't even know how many countries: Laos, Cambodia, I'm trying to think where else, China, um, Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, trying to think where else, Ecuador, Nicaragua, Honduras, Antarctica, Tanzania, Zanzibar, Iceland, Greenland, Longyearbyen. All these places were on my list way before Mexico was. Guarantee you that. But I was set up in such a crazy way where I was had to leave Bali. Like an emergency came up with the person who I was with at that time. If I had been by myself, I would have stayed. I never would have probably left Bali because it's like a vortex. That's a whole nother video. It's a vortex. It keeps you in it, even though it's trying to get you out, but you just stay in it. And it's so comfortable and familiar that you kind of just stay there. Familiar feels good. Like, so I was just like, I have to, I we have to end up having to leave and go to places that I never even imagined. But what happened was doing all that, like all that set me up for something that I never saw. All of it, every single thing that I did set me up. And here's the thing that gets a lot of people, I think, is because you're being set up for like something better than you can imagine, but you don't see it until you look backwards. You following me? So you don't see it until you're looking backwards. Meaning, you can see something really amazing and great, but then when something bad happens, you're like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I can't believe it. And the beautiful thing is if you actually look back, look at something that really stressed you out in the past, maybe a breakup or something. Find something in the past that really that really hurt, that really seemed out of the ordinary, that was just like a blind side. I can't believe this person did this. I can't believe that happened. And when you look at that and look at what that led to, for some of you, you haven't even thought about that. Look at something that horrible happened to you. What did it lead to? That's all. That's what matters. Because you'll be able to track back your life and you'll see that, wow, I probably would have never got these great things if that didn't happen. Because it's something that you didn't see. It's something that's so, I don't know how to say it. It's something that's so different than what you would have imagined. That for that reason, it turned out to be something better than you imagined, to say the least. And when I look back to my life, something is breaking my leg. And what that led me to led to all these colleges dropping me and not talking to me. And it led to one college wanting me. For one, I had, 12 to 15 different options all around the country, the United States. But yet, when this happened, it helped me narrow down to one that was interested. And it led to conversations, it led to friendships, it led to me showing out at that school and really doing things that propelled me into being a pro athlete. But then being a pro athlete, went to camp after camp after camp, went to camps and got scammed again, got scammed. I got scammed a bunch of times. Happens to a lot of pro athletes. Scammed. But what that did, I heard Abraham Hicks say something like this: everything that happens to you is either fulfilling your desire for it or it's increasing your desire for it. I'm gonna say it again. Everything that happens is either fulfilling your desire. What you want is giving you what you want, or it's increasing your desire for it, which means that it's making you want it even more. Because you can't get it, it'll make you want it more. You'll want it more. It's why in pickup culture, maybe I have a talk on that because I used to be former in the past life a pickup artist. You want to increase the desire of the other person. That's what you want. But not just from someone from the opposite sex. It can be anything from getting into a club, you want to show them like, yo, I don't even really want to go in there. I just want to meet you, the owner. You meet the owner, but he increases your desire. He sees who you are, and it's like, well, why hasn't this guy asked me for anything? It almost increases their desire for you to ask them for something. But increasing the desires of you can't doubt that, guys. Some of you guys are doubting the power of desire. Everything starts there. And for some people, it's just not there yet. A lot of the clarity calls that I do, people who reach out to me for coaching, and we end up doing a call, and it's a paid call, of course, most of the time, because I wouldn't work with someone before I got to talk to them. And one of the things is, the ones that don't work out, for example, the ones that don't, in the business world, we say that don't convert, the people who don't say, yes, here's my credit card, I'll pay, the desire is usually not there enough. The desire for help is there, but the desire to pay for help, especially back. Now my channel is a little bit different. We have different people who are here, because some people are, and I talk across. YouTube is not my main thing anymore. This used to be my main thing, and I put so much into it, and I was just like, for the time I put in to what I get out of it, the way I was doing it, it wasn't adding up, and so I started doing it on other platforms. TikTok, we're doing crazy. I think we just crossed like 130,000 followers there, which is amazing because it's just people who say yes, and it's just like a great idea to be able to help people and show them the world in a way that doesn't drain my energy. Shooting a video, editing it, and doing the whole 4 or 5 hour process to have a couple hundred people watch it, it is great. But at the same time, I'd be like, well, I do all that for $60 a month. That time can be spent doing something else that's more productive and that can reach more people, because we're trying to have a big impact. We're impacting people here. I'm gonna keep showing up here. I'll always be here. But I have to scale back kind of how we show up, at least for now. And I think that's important because you got to respect your energy. And most of the people that I worked with coming from any platforms to me is the reason I'm saying it, because a lot come from TikTok now, is the desire is not there for them. The desire to pay, because back in the day on my channel, I taught people how to budget travel, like especially early in the vlogs. I taught them how to budget travel, or I taught them how to have fun, and then it changed into budget traveling. And then I realized, like, wow, at that time, I was like, it took me a while to realize this. Like, a lot of my audience, they just want to sit in a chair like this and feel like they're traveling, which I got sad because I'm offering something that can help them do it. And I had to come to this acceptance that most people, they just don't want to. And I had to accept that most people don't want to pay for help. Like, and for me, that was the craziest thing. And then it's so interesting because the entrepreneurs did. They did. They wanted to pay for the calls because it's like, of course, because they believe in people paying for what they want. If you, for example, if you don't believe you should pay for help, like someone who needs advice, I'm trying to think of the last one that I did with somebody. I did like a challenge and I paid for the VIP, and it wasn't crazy expensive, but I remember paying for it, even though the challenge was going to be free. But I was like, I'm paying for it because, like, that's what you do. You want something done, you pay. Like, you pay for it. It's just like an equal exchange. Because I'll give someone advice. Maybe you've done this before. You're giving them advice. A week later, they should be fine. But they come back to you 3 weeks later and the problem is worse. And then you're like, did you do what I say? And they're like, no. And the crazy realization is, you realize if they would have paid you, they would have done it. Like, the people who pay me, they do it, they get the results, and yes. Or they pay me and they don't do it and they don't get the results, and they see that, and now that inspires them to do it. Or the third, they just don't want to do it. The desire's not there. But one of the things is, most people, they're like, I don't know why I'm stuck. I can't charge people for anything. I can't do that. But what are you paying for? You're trying to get as much as you can for free. But when you get it for free, it's very rarely, not always organized, which means you get all the pieces to the puzzle. For example, when you pay for something for free, when you get something for free, you're basically just getting someone's giving you a plastic bag with puzzle pieces in it. Yeah, all that was free, but now you got to figure out, what does the picture actually look like? What can the picture look like? What is this blue thing? Is this a sky? Is this water? Where when you pay for help, the person says, hey, what you're doing is this is a picture of an aquarium. Here's all the pieces, but the pieces don't matter so much because you need to understand what each piece does and understand that you actually don't even need to do this. You can get, and you get someone to help you with that. And I say all that because the people who I talked to didn't have that burning desire. And people that you probably talk to a lot of times, especially if you're still watching this video now, they don't have that burning desire like you do to sit through a 24-minute video. That desire is not there. Absolutely not. And with that being said, when you can get out of your mind how things are supposed to be and understand that the upside of where they could be, the worst is you die, maybe miserably or horribly, and that's it. Boom, done. There's an end point. The upside doesn't have an end point. There's no end point. I went off on a little tangent for the coaching thing, but I get so passionate about it because I was so confused in the past. I didn't understand. Now I get it. Um, Pay for what you want, guys. It'll save you so much time than trying to figure things out in the dark. Not with me, but with somebody, like something. There's someone you're watching now that has challenges or has something you can do. Like really, people that you know, go to them. I've given that advice 2 times last week to people close to me for them to go to the people who they trust, pay them, get the help. And I haven't heard back from them, so I'm hoping that they did. But things, the upside of something, the way they turn out can be so much bigger than you can imagine. Like you can imagine a miserable death, but death is the end result of that. But the upside, like I'm telling you, is so big. And we can't let what the way we thought it was supposed to be, we can't let that be the reason we don't go forward with that desire to want to do better, to want to have more, be more, do more, give more. And with that being said, I wasn't going to record a video today. This is not a video. This is me just talking to myself, sitting here waiting for the cafe to open. I always come to the coffee place with a coffee, and then when I finish it, I get a coffee. That's how I do it here at Starbucks, and they all know it. I'm always like, no, I got to finish my coffee first. But don't let the desire of, or don't let how you thought it was supposed to be in your mind, don't let it not working out be the reason that you don't work. Don't let it be the reason that you don't try to keep pursuing what it is that you desire. Like it's there. The desire can be there. It is there for you. But if you keep letting how you think it's supposed to be influence you, you realize that you'll never become what you're supposed to be. Sometimes things rarely work out how you think they're supposed to, because things are busy working out how they're supposed to. So things are so busy working out how they're supposed to that they don't have time to think about how you thought it was supposed to be and align with the way you thought it was supposed to be. So with that being said, I'm enjoying my coffee. Everyone's always asking what books I'm reading. I kind of get caught up reading a bunch of them. Um, and at the moment, I'm actually reading this book right here. It might be in reverse on here, but it's called Relentless by Tim Grover. I've read it before, but I'm reading it again. And I'm actually almost, yeah, we read a lot of it. Mm, oh, yeah. Okay. We read pretty much a lot of this book so far. That's what I'm reading. Get on your mind how you think it's supposed to be. Look at how it is and think about how you want it and make it that way. Simple 3-step strategy. With that being said, masterclass is happening this Friday. I'm trying to decide still if we're going to talk about legacy this week, or um, we're going to be talking about content, how to share your content. Because so many people are like, I don't know what to share. I don't know what to share. I don't know how to, like, we'll just get clear on what it is that you feel like you can share and to who. And let's start there. You know, it's like once you can identify the problem, you're halfway done. Whereas if you don't identify the problem, you've doubled the problem, because now you don't know what the problem is, and now you don't know where to start. Like you don't know where to start digging. So now you're going to be burning energy while you're trying to dig to a place that you don't know where you're digging. So with that being said, appreciate you guys. I want you guys to stay here, especially to the end, because it shows something about yourself, and I hope you can see that. I usually say that at the end of the clarity calls. Like I hope that you can see. I hope that you can see like how doing this means that you matter to you. Like you being here, you showing up, you just being here. It says something about yourself. And that's something to not only be happy of, but it's something to be proud of. So with that, love you guys. I'm gonna have my coffee and chill here before all people show up. And I'll see you guys maybe later this week. Take care.